I am super excited to present today on the theme of meeting the locals. And I'm just giving it another minute or so before I start with some short housekeeping items and then go into the presentation itself. All right, let's do this. It is 10:01. Welcome to everyone who is on the webinar live or maybe watching the recording. My name is Tina. I am with Appina Travel. Just a quick note before we get started. This is a webinar format, meaning your microphone and your cameras are going to be turned off. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. Once I start the slideshow, I'm not able to see the questions. However, after I conclude the slideshow, I will make sure that I see them, that I'm checking the chat, and then attend the questions before I end the webinar altogether. I am going to get started with the slideshow next. So give me 1 second. So again, this is Appina Travel. And our agenda today, I am welcoming you. I'm super excited, as you can tell. This is our very first webinar, so I'm just excited to be presenting on the theme of meeting the locals today. You get to meet your host, which is me. I will share a little bit about myself in just a few slides, and you also get to know Appina Travel. Then we go in the Meet the Locals tour, why it matters and what it offers. I will show then some other ways to connect with locals in Europe, give some inspiration for immersive travel. Again, these are just examples today. There is a lot that we can do, but just to give you some ideas to get started. Then in the end, I'm going to check the chat for your questions after I end the webinar. And then of course, a link with this recording will be emailed to you. You can share it with anyone you think might benefit from it. And we will also have a recording on our website. All right. So who is Appina Travel? We are a full-service receptive tour operator / DMC for groups to Germany and Central Europe. We were founded in 2002, so we have been around quite some time, over 20 years of organizing really customized, unique group travel experiences. We have 25 employees and operate about 1,200 groups a year. Our staff is multilingual. We speak German, of course, but also English, French, Italian, and Spanish. Where are we located? We have 2 offices in Germany. So we have one in Dresden and then one in Gauting, which is close to Munich. And then we have myself in Las Vegas. I look after the North American travel industry. So I'm your contact overseas. Where do we travel to? So we basically cover everything that can be reached by bus. Obviously, the DACH region, which is Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. But we also go to Belgium, France, Denmark, Italy, Czech Republic, Poland, Hungary, Slovenia, Croatia, Slovakia, and Holland. So the advantage for you is really, instead of working with several DMCs for each country, if you have a request for someone that wants to go to Austria, Germany, Switzerland, or Germany, Prague, or Czech Republic, we can do it all. So you can send the request to us, we create the itinerary for you, and that way you deal with one contact instead of several, which sometimes can be a little bit challenging. Just to give you a visual, so Germany, of course, in the middle, and then as you can see, we cover most of these surrounding countries. What does Appina Travel do? So we do offer tailor-made itineraries customized to your needs and expectations. We do develop new and creative program ideas. So if you have a client that comes to you and has a unique idea that you don't really know how to get started, feel free to send us the request and we then customize an itinerary for you. And then we go back and forth with you until it feels right. And all that, of course, is at no cost to you. We do organize tours to special events, and we have outstanding contacts to suppliers. With us being around for that long, we have long established relationships. And with that, we do also have allotments at many leading hotel chains. So when, sometimes you might run into a problem if there's a convention or Christmas market time, Oktoberfest, we do have hotels that we work with that give us an allotment that we have a partnership with. We also work together with family-owned hotels. Why Appina travel? Well, mainly we do easier workload, we save your time, right? And so we are local, we are located locally in Germany, and we know the in and outs of Germany and the surrounding countries. There might be a specific date that your client requests, and we find out there's a convention or there's a special event going on. We know these insights, so we will communicate that to you. Contract certainty, we negotiate market conditions with the suppliers. We can offer, like I mentioned before, allotment even in peak season dates. We can pass on bulk purchase savings. And of course, most importantly, the know-how. We are there. We travel a lot. We visit our hotels and sites regularly, and we also hand select our tour guides. Also important to mention, we do have a 24/7 customer service. And so we're there, right? In case something is going on with the group, you never know. Yes, there's a tour guide, but we're also there. So you have that support and that security level that we are locally in the same time zone as your group is, rather than in some other country where you deal with time difference and all that. So basically handling all the ground arrangements, and that saves you a lot of time. The groups that we build are all 100% custom. You will see, if you check out our website, there's a bunch of examples, sample itineraries, but again, everything is custom built and usually a thematic experience. Today, I do speak about meeting the locals. However, we do have culinary tours, Christmas markets, faith-based tours, river pre and post tours, World War II history tours, educational STEM, performance, romantic Germany, of course, architecture and art. There's many more that are not listed here. Our future webinars will always be themed. And if you have anything specific that you maybe hear your clients ask for, let me know, and we can, create a webinar around that, or even just talk to you one-on-one. So today, coming back to the theme of Meet the Locals. Meet the Locals, this theme is all about meaningful human connection. We design opportunities that go beyond sightseeing to create genuine interactions with local people, offering travelers a deeper, more personal understanding of the places they visit. So a lot more people ask about experiences like that, off the beaten track, something that the big chain operators cannot necessarily offer, with their fixed departure dates. So this is why we are unique as a DMC. We can create these experiences for you. The theme is important to travelers because it creates authentic personal connections and offers insight beyond the typical tourist experience. So examples of that may be a cultural or culinary workshop led by community members. You can visit family-run farms, businesses, or even schools, local guides that share personal perspective and traditions, cultural performances that bring local stories to life. So these are just a few things that can be organized. And I am going to bring it back to the tour that I was talking about in the beginning. So we did send out a newsletter last week that has the detailed itinerary of this tour that you are seeing on the slide right now. It starts in Berlin, goes through Spreewald, Dresden, and then ends in Prague. This is just, of course, another example. We can do any tour anywhere in the areas, destinations that we offer, but because we are matching that to the newsletter that we send, this is the tour. I will be showing some samples of what can be done when it comes to meeting locals. So just kind of keep that in mind. This is the only time you see that map. And then I'll go into the specific area. So starting in Berlin, what can you do in Berlin? Of course, Berlin is an amazing city. There's endless things that you can do, but just to highlight a few, you could do a graffiti street art tour. Usually these workshops start out with an intro and a stroll through a street art neighborhood. Then you learn about graffiti techniques. how to use the spray bottle, what to watch out for, and then you get to do your own art and in certain instances take a sample home. Another option of meeting local experience in Berlin would be a German language class. We could offer that for student tours, for example, that take language or take German as language if they're a little bit advanced. You can tailor it to their advancement level. Or we can do a beginner class with adults that just are curious learning a few German words. Again, this is done by a local, of course, a local German teacher. And so this interaction will be very authentic and personal. We could also do a stroll with a local through a typical Berlin Kiez. If you're not familiar with what a Kiez is, it's a unique neighborhood within a larger region of Berlin. And these neighborhoods are very unique. They have their own little culture, history. And so it's interesting to have a local guide walk you through that and explain a little bit more of the background. Again, just a few examples. Berlin is a huge city. There's a lot more that can be done. And then our tour, the one that we introduced, continues to Spreewald. Spreewald, and I had to make some notes just to make sure I give you really the correct information, is a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. It's about an hour southeast of Berlin, as you maybe if you remember seeing the map. And it has over 200 rivers, canals, and lush forests. It's the canal tour that we offer. You see it here. They sit in these little wooden boats. It's a local guide is on them and explains, of course, about the nature, about the Sorb minority. It's a minority that actually lives there. They have their own language, and they are famous for their custom traditional dresses. You may also be able to try a pickle. This area is very famous for the pickle. So just some ideas of things that can be done with your groups. And that is not necessarily the norm, that takes them out of the general touristy stuff. So from Spreewald, we are continuing to Dresden. Again, Dresden is such a vibrant, amazing city. If you have not been there, you have to go. But bringing it back to the theme of Meet the Locals, this picture that you see is called Kunsthofpassage. It is a vibrant collection of inner courtyards featuring art-themed buildings. The one that you see on, I don't know if Zoom switches the sides, but it's on my right. It's the blue picture that has the drippings. It's called a Singing Drain Pipes Building, and it makes music when it rains. So that's pretty cool. Also, some other ideas of what you can do in Dresden is you could meet with a local artist from a theater to do a go behind the scenes tour. You could also do a meetup with a local wine grower who will take you through his vineyard, share secrets about the grapes and how wine is made. And of course, you will be having a little tasting. Then, of course, Lebkuchen is big. You might be familiar with Lebkuchen, which is gingerbread. There are many classes where you can visit a factory. You speak to the employees. You might even see a demonstration of how the factory makes their Lebkuchen. You learn about the tradition, the history of Lebkuchen. And then you are being led to your own workstation where you can make your own and you can decorate them. It's kind of like the gingerbread house decoration, but just more authentic and unique to that specific area. And then, of course, most likely you will take the samples home. So that's another idea. Then after we leave Dresden, we go through Saxony, Switzerland, not to be, now I missed the word in English, but some people might think it's Switzerland, but it's not Switzerland. However, it's called Saxony, Switzerland. And it's a national park offering breathtaking views over the Elbe River and surrounding cliffs. And of course, you see the famous Bastei Bridge that is connecting several sandstone rock formations. It just gives a very breathtaking view. It's a beautiful area to be there. And a local experience could be meeting or being guided through it by a local ranger. You can learn about the region. You can learn about the geology. the traditions, and then visit nearby villages or family-run guest houses. So that's definitely an area worth visiting and also not necessarily known. So beautiful to be having that local experience. After that, we continue to Prague. Again, in Prague, big city. I don't know if any of you watching this live or the recording has been there. A lot of things to do. Glass blowing, of course, it's famous for the Bohemian glass. There's several workshops. Usually we include a workshop where you can watch someone showcase the craft. We can also organize workshops where people can actually blow their own glass. It's just a little bit more detailed. The glass has to cool off for a couple of hours after, so, but not a problem. Anything really can be done. This is an example. We can also do pasta cooking classes, maybe pasta making classes, chocolate making, anything is possible in Prague, of course, as well. And in most cities, quite honestly. Again, these three cities, is just an example of what can be weaved into a tour. Then we continue into additional ideas. So possible in many cities, most destination is really meeting local for neighborhood tours. We can do street food tours. We can meet a local that shows you around local markets, farmers markets. We can do a nature walk together, or meet a local farmer that shows you his own farm and explains farming, shows the animals, native speaker for language or dialect mini lessons. We can meet or organize local football teams, play together. You know, that's good for people that are interested in sports or maybe club teams. Learning crafts like pottery, weaving, painting from local artists. Visit a family-run manufactured businesses such as violin, jewelry, candlestick store, etc. We can do dance, music lessons and traditional styles, of course, endless cooking classes. So there's really so much that we can do. We have a whole list of things. If you like more ideas, feel free to email me. You will find my information here. I'm not sure. I don't think I actually talked about myself. But in case I didn't, I want to just say that I worked in tourism basically all my life. As soon as I graduated school, I grew up and worked in Germany until my late 20s. And then I worked for a German tour operator in Germany that offered me to open up an office in Los Angeles. So I worked for them in inbound tourism for quite some time. I worked for the German National Tourist Office. And I do understand the difference between German culture, not just German, but honestly European and Americans. You know, I understand what Americans are looking for. I'm now 25 years here and a long time also been in Germany, so understand that. So please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. My email you will see on this slide. You can also text me. This is my cell phone number. You can text me or WhatsApp me. And that concludes our webinar. I thank you for watching. Please reach out with any questions you might have. Our next webinar is scheduled to be probably beginning of September. I would think student educational performance tours most likely will be the theme. I will be at Cider. If you're at Cider, look me up. And now I am closing. I'm going to get out of this webinar so I can see if there are any questions. So give me 1 second and also stop my screen sharing. Yep, and I don't see any questions. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attendance, and I'll see you next time. Bye.